This video is all about Pokémon Legends ZA. Or is that ZA? Or maybe Pokémon Legends ZA? Or, well, whatever you want to call it. First though, I just want to take you back for a little bit of context of where I'm coming from with this video. Pokémon Legends Arceus was a big surprise to me, and to this day it remains one of my favorite Pokémon games. Ever since playing Red, Blue, and Yellow as a kid, I've had this vision of what a modern Pokémon game could be like. I think we all have, really. And Legends Arceus was one step closer to that for me. I love being able to explore the open zones and see all the Pokemon around me, watch them as they go about whatever they do, have them help you with traversal and exploration. I love the catching mechanic, being able to throw Pokeballs whenever I wanted, and sometimes have wild Pokemon attack me directly. That was exciting. The whole game was new and exciting, and we all wondered if this was the direction that Pokemon was going to take going forwards. So then we had Scarlet and Violet, and they did implement some of this into Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon were all around you in the world, which I loved, but it really just felt like half a step forward, almost like they didn't want to make too many changes to the mainline series too quickly. Now we have Pokémon Legends ZA, a successor to Arceus and the very first Pokémon game on the Nintendo Switch 2. So have they made the Pokémon game that everybody has been hoping for? Well, let's talk about it. So I'm about 10 to 15 hours in so far. I was actually away on holiday when the game first came out, so I couldn't get it on release. So I've played for a while now, but not all the way through, and maybe not as far as I would like to have gotten through it really. To sum up my thoughts in one line at the start of the video, this game definitely has flaws, but there's also some stuff here that I really like and that I really hope makes its way into the rest of the Pokemon games going forward. So Pokemon Legends ZA is set in Lumio City, originally from the X and Y games on 3DS. And when I say that it's set there, I do mean the entire game. Don't expect to spend some time in the city and then head off somewhere else. No, you're here for good. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. The game doesn't really feel like an adventure in the same way that other Pokemon games do, but that limited scope has allowed them to add in some extra features and make big changes to how the combat works. That's right, we're not playing turn-based Pokemon anymore. Combat is now in real time, and instead of waiting for your turn to attack, you can actually just attack whenever you like, and instead moves have a cooldown timer to stop you spamming the same one over and over. You can move your player character around during the fight, and your Pokemon will move in relation to you. And also when you tell them to do certain attacks, these will either be executed right up close to your opponent or at more of a distance. And so by combining these two elements, you can effectively control not only your Pokemon's attacks, but you also have a bit of control of where they move on the battlefield. You might have seen other videos by now saying that this is a lot more like the anime, and yes, that is true, we are heading in that direction, but we're not quite all the way there yet. To start with, there's not so much of an emphasis on dodging, at least at the start of the game. If I somehow manage to avoid an attack, it's usually just luck and not me being skillful and actually managing to direct my Pokemon to dodge. And then there are just so many attacks happening in one fight. Especially to start with, you usually have one or two moves off cooldown at any time, so you are actually kind of spamming them, at least in the early levels. This does change a little bit down the line. As you level up your Pokemon and learn stronger moves, these stronger moves have longer cooldowns, so being able to avoid one does become more important. And also as you go through the game, there are area of effect attacks that you need to sort of lead your Pokemon out of to avoid taking damage. But I will say that the chaotic feeling doesn't go away completely. Battles are still much more frantic than they've ever been, and they're also over really quickly. When you're battling trainers, you're also given a new option to sneak up on them and land an extra first attack, which can really give you an advantage. The battle system is pretty fun. I'm somebody who liked turn-based gameplay from the old Pokemon games anyway, so I'm not necessarily someone who needed them to change the battle system up, but I think what they've created here is good enough for a first iteration, and I would be really interested to see what they decide to do with it if they put this into another game, what changes they'd want to make. And I think that maybe if you had gone off Pokemon because of that turn-based battle system, this might be a bit more your speed. I personally, it's not won me over completely from turn-based. I like them both, and I would still be quite happy if in another Pokemon game they went back to turn-based. I'm happy they tried something new. I just don't think that this iteration of it is enough to completely win everyone over from turn-based. So you'll do most of your battling at night. The day-night cycle makes a return. At night, certain zones open up with trainers in them who are taking part in the ZA Royale, and in the ZA Royale you earn points depending on how many trainers you beat. If you earn enough points, then you can unlock a qualifier match to rank up. While in these zones, you can pick up little challenges, and these are tasks such as perform a super effective move, or another one could be knock out an opponent with a water type move. And so if you complete these in a battle, you get extra points to help you rank up faster. faster. And I like this because it changes up the way that you play. You know, maybe you'll pull out a different Pokemon because you want to complete this little sub-objective. I really like that. Nighttime is what feels most like another Pokemon game to me, with sort of the big focus being on battling like the other games in the series. So during the daytime you do get some battles, but that's not what you'll spend most of your time doing. There's a much bigger focus on a main story quest line in this game, and you'll be quickly recruited by Team MZ, you'll make some friends, and then you'll slowly uncover what it is that's happening in Lumio City. I've enjoyed having that main quest line to take me through the game, although the tutorial in this game is very, very long. It takes ages for it to sort of like fully let you off of the training wheels. Pokemon in the city are usually found in the wild zones, and these zones play out similar to Legends Arceus, although with the new combat. There's a few of them spread out throughout the city, and they have Pokemon scattered in them. You start off with not very many, and I was a bit concerned that there were only a few, but as you go through the game you do unlock more, and they have different Pokemon in them. You also quite quickly unlock research tasks, which are kind of similar to the tasks you had in Legends Arceus, but they're a little bit more generic. So instead of each Pokemon having specific tasks, it's more like catch 5 electric types or evolve 5 Pokemon, it's that kind of thing. But it does mean that there are plenty of tasks and things to tick off if you're a completionist, alongside just having the Pokédex to complete as well. The city has a vertical element to it too, so you can climb up buildings, run along rooftops, and there are Pokemon on the roof sometimes, there'll be trainers, there are items to find. Having that vertical element to the city does help a little bit, but I still find that Lumio City as a setting is kind of bland. Now, I'm not really talking about what I've seen other YouTubers talk about, where, you know, the graphics are a bit boring, all the windows are the same, and they're all just images slapped onto the side of the building instead of proper textures. That's not really what I mean. I'm more sort of talking about the fact that you're stuck in the city and nothing really changes. I'm not against games being based in one city, but you have to have some variety when you're doing that. You do have other games that are set in just one city, which are fine, but they have to find a way to keep things interesting, variety in the buildings from the outside, lots of interesting buildings to go into, different districts, and that's not really happened here. And so far, even the wild zones that I've unlocked don't feel too different to me. So that is a little bit disappointing, but it's not all bad. At the start of the video, I said there was something about this game I really liked and that I was hoping made its way into future Pokemon games, and it's one of the redeeming features of Lumio City. To me, Pokémon Legends ZA is the Pokemon game where I think the Pokemon themselves feel the most alive. Now, there are a few ways that it achieves this. First of all, there are loads of Pokemon spread throughout the city that belong to trainers. They're just dotted all over the place, and you can interact with them. You can go up to them, you can press A, and they'll do their cry. Now, some of them do have a very similar cry where they just kind of tilt their head back and roar, but plenty of them are different enough to keep it interesting. You'll also, when you're walking around the city, but not in the wild zones, you'll occasionally see Pokemon in sort of like interesting places. So you might look up into a tree and just see a Kakuna hanging out there, or you'll see a Trubbish, which is just kind of like this rubbish bag Pokemon, and it'll be on top of a rubbish bin. And these are small, but they're amusing. They contribute to that feeling. The main reasons though are two things that are quite new to Pokemon, even though it's 2025, and those are side missions and cutscenes. We'll talk about side missions first because I am enjoying these way more than I expected to. You unlock these after a few hours of gameplay, and they're spread all throughout the city. Now, what you're actually doing in the side missions is nothing special really. There's plenty of like, go here, find this item, but it's all contained in what I think of as a Pokemon wrapper, which gives it a lot of personality and just makes it way more fun to me. So there's something like 100 of these side missions all spread through the game. So I'm just going to spoil a few of the ones at the very start because I really think they help demonstrate what it is that I'm trying to say. There's one side quest where all you have to do is battle a wild Chespin a few times. It's pretty simple, that itself is not too exciting. But the reason that you have to battle it is because it keeps trying to attack one of the taxis in the city. And so in the little cutscene that they showed to introduce the quest, you can see this Chespin being angry at this taxi, and the person is like, oh, why don't you go and battle other Pokemon like everyone else, leave my taxi alone. So already that's funny to me. It portrays Chespin as being a bit grumpy, which I love. And now, you know, if I see a Chespin around, I'm probably gonna think back to this mission where it tries to attack the taxi. Another side quest is just a simple fetch quest. You have to find a certain item and bring it back, but you're doing it because there's a sick Fennekin, and so you see this cute little Fennekin curled up on the floor, and that immediately makes me want to go out and find this healing item. Okay, so last one I'm going to spoil, and I'm actually kind of sad. I played this in handheld, so I haven't got any recorded footage for it, but you come across a Pokemon called Slurpuff, and it looks really sad. It's pretty down in the dumps, and its trainer is working a shift at his job, and so he asks you to take his Slurpuff to the nearby cafe in an attempt to try and cheer it up. Now, this is literally just an escort mission. You only go around the corner and nothing happens on the walk, but seeing this little Pokemon bounce along next to you, and then there's a cutscene where it gets these sweet treats at the cafe and it cheers up, and it was honestly delightful. Now, the thing about this, the funny and the stupid thing about this is that I just described some of the simplest quests that we have in games today. You know, a fetch quest, just a normal battle, an escort mission. These should be boring, right? But because they're new to Pokemon and they have this sort of like Pokemon theme to them already, that makes them a little bit more interesting in this game. And then because they have these cutscenes that take these Pokemon, they give them more personality, I can't help but find myself having a great time doing them. I'm finding myself excited to see what all of these side quests contain because I want to watch more interactions with Pokemon in the city, and that's just something I never expected to happen. You can also let your Pokemon out of its Pokeball most of the time. You can have it run around with you, you can take photos of it, and I think what it boils down to is Pokemon feel more alive in this game, but they also feel more like companions and friends in this game than in any other. All of the other Pokemon games in the past have talked about how like, oh, you're a great trainer because you care about your Pokemon, you formed a bond with them. And I'm not saying that people didn't care about the Pokemon that they had in previous games, but I feel like in this one, it's so much easier to care about all the Pokemon in this city because they just have that extra something to them. And this is just the biggest thing that I really hope the Pokemon Company takes over into other mainline Pokemon games going forward. It doesn't have to be in the form of side missions, you know, but find ways to inject extra personality for the Pokemon. Have little cutscenes of them interacting with the world or with other trainers in ways that are not just battles. This is what I would like to happen going forward. I don't know about you, I'm not playing these games for the human characters. I'm playing for the Pokemon. That's what I'm most interested in. So really just give us more Pokemon personalities in future games. If they can keep this in future games and they can iterate a little bit more. I wasn't that keen on the wild zones compared to Legends Arceus completely open zones, and I'm not completely convinced on the battle system yet, but the extra interaction and personality of Pokemon in this game is what's doing it for me. So because of the amount of time that I've put into the game so far, this video ended up being something in between a first impressions video and a full review. But I am going to keep playing Pokémon Legends ZA and just see how it evolves with more time put into it, see if the things that I like about it stay as good as I'm enjoying them at the moment, and if, you know, maybe some of the things that are grating on me a little bit, if they do get better or if they continue the way that they are at the moment. I'd love to hear what it is that you think about this game. They have made some big changes. Are these for you, or are you not really enjoying them and you much prefer how the mainline games are at the moment? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.